Hey, it's Tamie M here of TamieMCoaching.com, empowerment life coach and creator of the Freedom Class. And what I want to talk to you about today is why you should never, and I mean never, call narcissists out. Now, before I begin this video, I just want to quickly announce that we have a few spots available in the calendar this week for the free one-to-one consult with either myself or a member of my awesome team for the Freedom Class program. So if that's of interest to you, be sure to stick around till the end of the video for the announcement on how to enroll and sign up for that consult. Now with that, let's get started. So let's talk about why you should never, ever call a narcissist out. When I say never ever call a narcissist out, I mean directly to their face or even approaching their close inner circle. So calling them out indirectly by, no matter how well intended we may be, approaching the troops that they gather around them, their close inner circle, their flying monkeys, their little minions, the people who enable them either through silent consent or full-blown participation in all the toxic, nonsense, destructive BS that goes on. That can be, their circle of friends, the family, in other words, the troops that they pull towards them, their golden children, their golden grandchildren, whoever it is that are their little minions, their flying monkeys, their enablers. When you call a destructive narcissist out directly or indirectly by approaching the other folks to inform them of who and what it is that they're dealing with, it's not going to go well for you. Why is that? Well, first and foremost, you are at the very least going to be laughed at and mocked. And the truth is, that's likely to be the least of it, right? That's likely really where it's just going to get started. The narcissist's MO is to lie, deny, and project. That's their MO. We must always remember that that is what we're dealing with when we're dealing with someone who is empathy deficient, lacking in empathy, lacking in conscience, lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism. They lie, they deny, they project. In addition, they are subconsciously very well defended against any sort of honest inventory taking of themselves, honest self-reflection, right? On a subconscious level, they are well defended against taking the time to take a step back and have a look at their own attitudes and their own behavior and the kind of poison that comes out of their mouth and their mind and their heart and all the ways that they destroy and destruct and do damage and all of it, right? They are on a subconscious level very well defended against having a look at any potential flaw that they may carry. So they're not going to get it. They are not going to hear you, period. End of story. Exercise in futility, fully. Now, rather than them getting it, what's far more likely to happen is that you are going to inflict narcissistic injury and therefore incite narcissistic rage. Any perceived criticism or rejection that the narcissist feels is going to inflict narcissistic injury, and you're going to be on the receiving end of narcissistic rage, one way or another. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth trying to get through to someone who you're not going to be able to get through to? Is it worth trying to get through to their close inner circle who are already fully brainwashed or for whatever reasons of their own particular, makeup, are fully buying into the narcissist narrative? Is it worth that exercise in futility when what really will end up happening is you're simply putting your hand up and volunteering to be targeted further than you've already been? Remember, narcissists are extremely insecure, shame-based people at their core. Don't let all the egomania and the false persona and the emotional manipulation and the egotistical delusions of grandeur, or if you're dealing with a covert, then the sad Max story. Don't let all of that fool you. The reality is these are deeply insecure, shame-based people. And the moment you shine a light on the slightest hint of a perceived flaw that they will take as criticism or rejection, all defenses are going to come at you. So is it worth it? Now, if you're sitting there saying, actually, yeah, Tamie, I think it would be worth it. I need to let them know. I need to let the people who surround them know. Yeah, I think it would be worth it. Okay, just know in advance that you are absolutely setting yourself up to be gaslit, further targeted, and completely smeared, at the very least. That's not all the tools in their diabolical toolbox, but guaranteed, if you run the risk of calling a narcissist out directly or indirectly, inflicting narcissistic injury, inciting narcissistic rage, at the very least, you're going to be gaslit. You're crazy. You're the narcissist. You're the crazy one. You're the problem. I remember one time being told, you need psychiatric help by someone who is in the process of protecting a pedophile, right? So, I mean, you've got to be pretty narcissistic to be playing that role in life. And I was the one who needed the psychiatric help, not the pedophile and not the enabler, but me, right? So that's an extreme example, but we could get even more extreme. These folks will go to any lengths necessary to protect their false persona, this false identity, this incredibly fragile and insecure false persona and false identity that they are, again, attempting to convince themselves and everyone else of. They will go to any lengths to protect that false persona. And they'll do so at all costs. And I mean all costs, no matter what. A narcissist has to land on one side or the other. They are either the victim or the hero. No matter what they've done or haven't done, no matter how much drama, trauma, pain, destruction they have created and caused, no matter how much proof and evidence you may have, they will find a way at all costs. And again, all costs, think about that, all costs, to either be perceived as the victim or the hero. Under no circumstances can they allow themselves to be perceived as the villain, no matter what they've done. So they'll throw anyone under the bus, anyone, including their own children. No matter how cruelly they have to, they will do whatever it takes to protect that false persona. So while you're sitting there thinking, yeah, it's worth it. I need, I've got to let them know. I have to, really sit back and think about that. Really sit back and think about that. Do you enjoy being gaslit? Do you enjoy being targeted? Do you enjoy being smeared? Because you're setting yourself up. If you are outright or indirectly, directly or indirectly intending to call a narcissist out for who and what they are. Might feel good in the moment. It might feel good in the moment, but it will come back and bite you, and probably bite you real hard. Now, in addition, you're likely to be blamed, shamed, and criticized. Now, you might be all good with that. If you've got a lot of healing and recovery under your belt and you're pretty sure about who you are, filled with self-love and self-esteem, and you're rock solid and bulletproof, you might not care. But many of you tuning into this video have yet to begin your healing and recovery work. You're in a world of freaking pain. You're filled with all kinds of wounding and trauma. And that's not a judgment or a criticism. I've been there. I know the deal. And the reality is, when you're in that place, being blamed, shamed, and criticized by a person who has no boundaries and is on a mission to make you wrong so they can be right, to make you the villain so that they can look like the victim or the hero, to make you bad so they can look good, right? And they're willing to go to any lengths to do that. If you're in a vulnerable state, the price that you will pay will be very, very high. So again, I ask you, is it worth it? I can tell you, a decade and a half plus of healing and recovery under my belt, what I know for sure is, when it comes to calling out a destructive narcissist, they do not care. They never have. They never will. They're not going to start now suddenly because you approach them and say, I read this book, I saw this video, I took this quiz, I spoke to this counselor, this coach, this therapist, whoever, and I figured it out. I've got the holy grail. I get what's going on here, right? They don't care. If they cared, they would have cared a long time ago, right? So a far better option than calling out a destructive narcissist directly or indirectly would be instead to focus on yourself. Focus on taking care of you. Focus on your healing and recovery, minding your own business, taking your own inventory, doing your own work, taking care of your life, focusing on what you need to create a happy, healthy, love-filled, productive, abundant, joyful, peaceful, harmonious life for yourself, right? That would be a far more productive option that will get you way further, way faster than calling out a destructive narcissist ever will. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. My friends, I hope you got some value out of this today. If you liked what you heard, remember to drop me a like and a comment. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments as well so I can take care of them for you, maybe make them a part of up and coming content. And as I mentioned at the top of the video, we do have some spots available this week for the free one-to-one consult with either myself or a member of my team for the Freedom Class program, which is my 8-week transformational coaching program specific to healing and recovery from codependency and narcissistic abuse. So if that's of interest to you, there is a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with us. And as always, I will leave you with this. Know your value. Know your value and unlock your freedom. Much love. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.